At the beginning of the movie, we see the boss of a dangerous cartel group in Colombia stepping out of his private jet. As soon as he exits, security surrounds him from all sides because someone had warned the cartel boss that today is the day you will be killed. But the boss doesn't take this matter very seriously because he has too much faith in his security, and then he gets into his car and heads towards his home. Here, a long convoy of vehicles follows his car in a queue, and soon he arrives at his luxurious mansion, where many people are already waiting for him. Upon reaching home, he changes his clothes and goes to the swimming pool for a dip. Now, while the boss is swimming underwater, security guards are still watching him from above. During this time, the boss notices his watch lying at the bottom of the pool. Seeing this, he gets confused about how his watch ended up in the water. Now, just as the boss dives down to pick up the watch and is about to grab it, someone comes and grabs him, trying to drown him. The boss struggles hard to free himself, but the unknown man holds him very tightly, and after a while, due to suffocation in the water, the boss dies. Up above, the guards don't even have a clue that their boss has been killed, and the boss's body floats in such a way that the guard above thinks the boss is happily swimming. As soon as the guard leaves, the killer cleverly comes out of the water and starts changing his clothes. Here we learn that the killer's name is Bishop Arthur, and Arthur is a car mechanic in the eyes of the world. But in reality, Arthur is a contract killer who takes money to play people's game. And after finishing his job, Arthur leaves from there. Just then, a maid in the house finds out that the boss has been killed, which alerts all the guards, and the guards order all the doors of the house to be closed. Now some guards pull the boss's body out of the water and realize that the boss is dead. After this, all the guards start searching for the killer, but they didn't know that the killer had already escaped far away. And then Arthur jumps from a bridge into the river below and escapes with a boat that was already coming, leaving no evidence behind. After this, Arthur returns home and opens a secret compartment in his house. Looking at the photos placed there, we realize that Arthur is not an ordinary contract killer. Before killing someone, he does extensive research on that person, and the deaths of all the people Arthur has killed so far never look like murder. They look like accidents. Now, after finishing this job, Arthur goes to the man who had given Arthur the contract to kill the cartel group boss, and the two of them meet at a cafe. Here we see that the man who gives Arthur the contract to kill someone is a disabled man named Henry. Here we learn from their conversation that Arthur has been associated with Henry for many years, and it was Henry who brought Arthur into the field of contract killing. Henry considers Arthur like a son, and the way Arthur has become a perfect contract killer today, all those methods were taught to Arthur by Henry. Now Henry and Arthur talk with each other for a long time, and finally Henry gives Arthur the payment for his work, after which Arthur gets into his car and leaves. Days pass like this, and one day Arthur receives a new contract. When Arthur sees the photo of that man on his laptop, he gets disturbed because the person to be killed was none other than his mentor, Henry. Here Arthur learns that Henry has been betraying his group's people, and Henry got 5 members of his own group killed during a mission in South Africa. But Arthur doesn't believe all of this, so Arthur calls a leader of his company named Dean, and Dean had issued the contract to kill Henry. Now Arthur fixes a meeting with Dean, and the next day Arthur sets out to meet Dean. Soon Arthur reaches the location where Dean had called him. Now here, Dean and Arthur's meeting takes place. Dean tells Arthur that the news you heard is absolutely true. Henry got 5 people from his own organization killed in South Africa. But Arthur still isn't ready to believe this. Then Dean tells Arthur that only I and Henry knew about the South Africa mission. So I am completely sure that Henry betrayed us, and because of Henry's betrayal, our 5 comrades were killed. So Henry must now be punished, and the punishment for betrayal is death. Because if we don't kill Henry, Henry could get me and you killed too. So I want you to kill Henry because you are the most perfect killer in our organization. But if you don't want to kill Henry, we have other people to kill him.
I assigned a team of 5 operatives. Someone knew everything. All 5 were killed. 2 people knew the details here. Harry sold us out. We pulled his financials. There's one there made 2 weeks ago for $20 million US. But Harry McKenna has poisoned the well. He needs to be removed. Every day that he's alive puts this company in danger. Given your relationship, you're in the best position to get this done quickly. We don't want to go to an outside source, but we will if we have to.
And here Arthur accepts the contract to kill Henry. Now as soon as night falls, Arthur calls Henry and tells him that Dean's men are coming to kill you. Hearing this, Henry panics. Then Arthur tells Henry, "Don't worry, quickly get out of your office, but don't come out through the main gate." Come out through the back way. Hearing this, Henry follows Arthur's instructions and starts leaving his office. Now Arthur guides Henry on the phone on how to get out of the office, and Arthur tells Henry to first turn off the electricity on your floor. Henry follows Arthur's orders and has the electricity on his floor cut off, which turns off all the CCTV cameras on the upper floors. At the same time, Arthur also has Henry turn off the security alarm. Now Henry slowly makes his way down through the service route. After this, Arthur tells Henry on the phone that now come straight to the basement where I have a car ready for you. Now Henry follows all of Arthur's instructions and reaches the basement. As soon as he reaches the basement, Arthur appears before him. Seeing him, Henry smiles and realizes that Arthur has brought me here to the basement to kill me. Now Henry says to Arthur, "You very cleverly made me fool my own security men, and now even they don't know where I am." After this, Henry asks Arthur if you are going to do the same with me as you do with others, killing them and making their deaths look like accidents. To which Arthur replies, "Yes, I will make your death appear before the world as if a thief came to steal your car. But you didn't let him steal it, which is why the thief killed you, and then your car will be found at an unknown place, so everyone will think you were killed for not giving the car to the thief." Hearing this, Henry smiles and pulls out his gun, firing a few shots at his own car, and says, "Now your story will look even more realistic because seeing the marks of my own gun's bullets on the car, people will think I also fired some shots in self-defense." Now, despite having a gun, Henry doesn't try to kill Arthur but instead hands his gun over to Arthur. After taking the gun, Arthur asks Henry, "You had a gun with which you could have shot me too, but you didn't. Why?" To which Henry says, "Killing you would be useless because the man who sent you to kill me will send more men after I'm gone. So it's better to die by your hands than by someone else's." Finally, Henry tells Arthur, "After killing me, you will surely regret it."
Get me to circumvent my own security. So what's the story here? Carjacking?
Something like that.
A couple of shots, there's a struggle. At least I don't go down looking like a pussy.
Why didn't you kill me?
And just send somebody else. I would rather it was you, Arthur.
After this, Arthur kills Henry and finishes him off. The next day, at Henry's grave, we see Henry's son, Steve, and Steve is very sad due to his father's death. Just then, Arthur also arrives there because Arthur too, in his heart, felt grief over Henry's death. Now here, Henry's son Steve meets Arthur, and the two already know each other because Henry had been, in a way, Arthur's teacher for many years, teaching him all the methods of contract killing. Now as Arthur is driving back in his car, Steve approaches him and says, "Can you drop me home?" Arthur agrees to drop him, and Steve gets into Arthur's car. On the way, we see that Steve is very disturbed by his father's death. When Arthur enters Steve's house, he sees many guns on the table. Seeing this, Arthur asks Steve, "What are you going to do with all these guns?" Then Steve picks up a gun and says, "With this gun, I will avenge my father's death." Hearing this, Arthur asks Steve, "How will you find your father's killer?" To which Steve says, "I will kill every thief in this city. Who knows, maybe one of those thieves turns out to be my father's killer, and I will keep searching for my father's killer until I kill him." Hearing this, Arthur also becomes worried because we know that Steve's father's killer is none other than Arthur, but Steve is completely unaware of this. Before Arthur leaves, Steve, with tears in his eyes, tells Arthur, "What a cruel person that killer is, who killed a disabled man." After hearing all this, Arthur leaves. Meanwhile, Steve is very sad and his mental state is not stable because of his father's death. So in anger, he starts firing bullets at the walls of his own house. He also starts drinking heavily. As night falls, we see Steve sitting inside his car in a deserted place, waiting for a thief to come so he can kill him and vent his anger. Just then, a thief arrives. The thief first starts talking to Steve, but then the thief pulls out his gun, points it at Steve, and tells him to get out of the car. Then Steve cleverly engages the thief in conversation and, seizing the opportunity, snatches the gun from him. After which, Steve starts beating the thief mercilessly. He beats him so badly, leaving him in a terrible condition. And finally, Steve pulls out his own gun and is about to kill the thief when Arthur arrives and snatches the gun from Steve, telling him, "You've gone mad. This is not your father's killer. You're taking an innocent life." Now Arthur explains to Steve, "You have become blinded by the fire of revenge. So get out of here quickly because if the police come, instead of avenging your father's death, you could end up in trouble." And then they both leave. The next day, Steve comes to Arthur and apologizes, but then makes a demand. He tells Arthur that he's found his purpose. He wants to become a contract killer and Arthur is going to train him. Steve argues that Arthur owes him this because his father taught Arthur every skill he knows, treating him like a son while neglecting his own son. Steve points out that Arthur's expertise exists only because of his father's generosity, and now it's time to pay that debt back by passing everything on to him. After hearing all this, Arthur doesn't give Steve any answer and walks away. But throughout the night, all those words that Steve had said to him keep swirling in Arthur's mind because truly, Arthur is where he is today because of Steve's father. So the next morning, Arthur calls Steve and tells him, "I am ready to teach you. Come meet me tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
8600 Alvarado Street, 7 a.m. tomorrow."
The next morning, as soon as Steve meets Arthur, Arthur takes him to a pet shop and buys a small puppy for him there. After buying the dog, Arthur tells Steve, "Your training has begun today. What you have to do is take this dog to the cafe across the street every day, order black coffee, and sit by the window seat." Now Steve asks Arthur, "What is the need to do all this?" To which Arthur replies, "If you want to become a perfect contract killer like me, don't ask questions, just do what I say." And then, following Arthur's instructions, Steve wakes up at 7 a.m. every morning, goes to that cafe with his dog, orders black coffee, and sits by the window seat. This continues for many days. At the same time, Arthur also gives Steve training in shooting, and after many days of hard work, Steve becomes a perfect shooter. Now Arthur explains to Steve, "The work we are doing is not easy. There is a very high risk of getting caught in this work, but we have to train ourselves so well that after killing someone, we stage the death in such a way that the police don't get any evidence leading to us." And then the very next day, Arthur receives a new contract to kill someone. Now Arthur takes Steve along with him to kill that person so that Steve can see with his own eyes, as an experiment, how someone is killed without leaving any evidence. When both of them arrive at that person's house, Arthur cleverly starts talking to him about his field and doesn't let him suspect that they have come to kill him. Actually, this man is a smuggler who betrayed his teammates. Now Arthur engages the man in conversation, and as soon as Arthur gets the opportunity, he puts a belt around the man's neck and kills him. After killing him, Arthur hangs him from the front door in such a way that it looks like the man took his own life. Steve is watching all of this with his own eyes. Here, watching Arthur's perfect killing techniques, Steve is very inspired by Arthur and starts thinking in his mind, "If only I could kill someone like Arthur." After which, Arthur brings Steve to his house. As soon as Steve enters Arthur's house, he starts playing the music that was on display. But then, quickly, Arthur removes Steve's hand from the music system and tells him, "Never play this music because this music is my favorite, and you have no right to touch my favorite things." Now Arthur shows Steve a photo of a man and says, "This is your first target, whom you have to kill." As soon as Steve sees the face of that man, Steve is completely shocked because this is the same man who for the past many days has been sitting at the table behind Steve at the cafe Steve has been going to. Now Steve understands Arthur's entire plan, why Arthur sent him to that cafe every day so that Steve could befriend this man. Now Arthur tells Steve that this man is a mafia don and has two weaknesses: one, a small puppy, and second, young boys like you. And taking advantage of this, Arthur sent Steve to this man, and then the mafia don himself, seeing a handsome boy, befriended him. Now Arthur starts explaining the plan to kill that man and tells Steve that you go close to him, and when he comes close to you, you take him to a nearby bar and make him drink a lot of alcohol. Then, when he is drunk, you take the opportunity and add this poisonous drug to his drink. Within minutes, he will die, and no one will be able to figure out that you killed him. Instead, people will think he died from drinking too much. But listen to me carefully. Never think of fighting that man, because he is 7 feet tall and will beat you so badly that you won't be able to stand on your feet again. Now Steve follows Arthur's instructions and goes to the Mafia Don, and everything is going according to plan. Now after they drink, the Mafia Don goes to get more alcohol. During this time, Steve has a good opportunity to put the poisonous drug in the Mafia Don's drink. But Steve doesn't do it because the same scene keeps replaying in his mind when Arthur killed the smuggler and hung him from the door. Now Steve wants to kill this man the same way, so he doesn't put the drug in the man's drink and gets into the car with him and goes to his house. Although Arthur had already explained to Steve to never go to this man's house because this man is not an ordinary person but a mafia don who has killed many people, and this 7-foot-tall man is very powerful. But Steve underestimates him, and as soon as Steve goes to the bedroom with this man, Steve attacks him from behind. But the mafia don picks Steve up and slams him to the ground, and then a fight breaks out between the two. But Steve's attacks have no effect on the mafia don, and Steve proves weak against the mafia don's strength. The mafia don Don picks Steve up and throws him against the walls, badly injuring him. But in the end, Steve secretly picks up a screw and strikes the Mafia Don, weakening him, and then taking advantage of the opportunity, Steve strikes him multiple times, finally killing the Mafia Don. After killing the Mafia Don, Steve goes straight to Arthur's house. Here, Arthur is very angry with Steve and tells him, "I told you not to fight that Mafia Don." Now Arthur is angry at Steve, but killing such a big Mafia Don in a fight impresses Arthur, and Arthur realizes that Steve is not a weak player. The very next day, Arthur receives a call from the head of his organization named Dean, who asks Arthur, "You got an outsider to do the job." To which Arthur tells Dean, "This boy can do very big things for you in the future." To which Dean says, "Does that boy know that you are his father's killer?" Hearing this, Arthur understands that Dean is keeping an eye on them and knows that he got Steve to do this job. Now Dean changes the topic and tells Arthur, "Whether you do the job yourself or get someone else to do it, I don't want any mistakes in the work." After which, Dean gives Arthur a new contract and says, "After killing this man, you will get a lot of money." After saying this, Dean hangs up. Now when both of them look at the photo of the man they have to kill, after researching him, they find out that this man is a priest who, in the name of religion, has been cheating people and making a lot of money. After learning all this, they start preparing to kill the priest and make a plan that both of them will go to the priest's house, where they will first knock him unconscious, then inject him with a poisonous injection and kill him. After this, they set out to kill the priest according to the plan and, using ropes, reach the priest's apartment. After this, they move through the ventilation route and go very close to the priest's bedroom. There, they secretly use a wireless camera to watch the footage of the priest's entire room and find out that this priest is a big drug addict who on one hand preaches against bad deeds, but on the other hand does various kinds of drugs himself. Seeing this, they become disappointed because the poisonous injection they were going to give the priest, they cancel that plan because due to the priest's heavy drug use, the poison won't have any effect on him. Now Steve tells Arthur, "We should go back," but Arthur says, "Wait, let me think." And then a new idea comes to Arthur's mind. Now, as soon as the guards leave the room, they take advantage of the opportunity, quickly remove the front glass, and enter the room. During this, the priest is watching them. But because the priest is under the influence of drugs, he can't even move his body. Taking advantage of the opportunity, both of them strangle the priest and kill him. Meanwhile, guards are posted outside the room, but they have no idea what is going on inside the room. After killing the priest, both of them quickly remove the glass and hide behind it. After a while, a guard enters the room. Upon entering, the guard sees that the priest has died due to a drug overdose, but he has absolutely no idea that someone strangled the priest to death. Now everything is going fine when suddenly Steve accidentally drops a screw. Hearing the sound, the guards realize that someone is behind the glass, and then the guards start firing at the wall. Both of them also fire back at the guards, and Arthur also shoots and kills some guards. After which, they quickly come out of the building. A fight continues between them for a long time, but they kill all the guards one by one, and then both of them quickly reach a bus station, where Arthur is waiting for the bus. During this, Arthur notices a man, and seeing him, Arthur recognizes him. This is the same man who was killed along with his 5 companions during a mission in South Africa. And then Arthur was told that Henry had killed these 5 people. Now seeing this man alive, Arthur is completely shocked and starts secretly following that man. As soon as that man boards a bus, Arthur also reaches there and asks him, "You were dead, but how are you still alive?" Then that man starts telling Arthur the whole truth and says, "This whole plan was Dean's. Dean told me to go to South Africa and kill my 4 companions, and after killing them also fake my own death, in exchange of which I would get a lot of money. And Dean did this so that he could frame Henry for the murder of these 5 people. And then he succeeded in doing so. He spread a fake rumor and had you kill Henry. After Henry's death, Dean took control of this entire organization and became the boss of our company."
What do you want? Last time I saw you, you had a bullet in your head. I don't know what you're doing alive.
Dean paid me a very large amount of money to kill the others. Harry was getting suspicious about a blown operation. It had to be taken care of.
Now while telling all this, that man suddenly attacks Arthur. But Arthur was already prepared for the man's attack. And here, a fierce fight breaks out between the two. After a brief fight, Arthur finally throws the man out of the bus window, where a car runs over him and kills him. Arthur then leaves. Now when Arthur reaches the riverbank, he notices something is wrong because there is no boatman there. Just then, a black car arrives and some people come out to kill Arthur. Actually, Dean must have found out that Arthur has learned the whole truth and has also killed one of his men. So now Dean wants to eliminate Arthur. But here, seeing those people, Arthur quickly hides in the river water. Now Dean's men start searching for Arthur. Just then, Arthur emerges from the water and kills all of them one by one. After killing everyone, Arthur gets into a boat and starts leaving. Just then, Arthur receives a call from Steve. While talking to Steve on the phone, Arthur notices something wrong and realizes that Steve is surrounded by Dean's men. So Arthur tells Steve, "Don't worry. There is a gun lying in the right corner of the sofa you are sitting on." Now, as soon as he learns this, Steve quickly pulls out the gun and kills all the people there. After a while, Arthur also reaches Steve, and here Arthur tells Steve, "The people who came to kill you a while ago were Dean's men, so now we are going to kill Dean. Quickly go to the back shelter room and prepare the weapons." And now Steve follows Arthur's instructions, reaches the shelter room and starts gathering weapons. But during this time, Steve finds the gun that belonged to his father. After seeing his father's gun, Steve understands that Arthur was the one who killed his father. And now Steve keeps that gun with himself and then puts the rest of the collected weapons in the car and sits in the car with Arthur. But Steve doesn't mention anything about the gun he found to Arthur. Now, as the two of them are going to kill Dean, on the way, Steve asks Arthur, "Have you ever killed someone who was very close to you?" Arthur answers, "Yes." Then Steve asks, "Did you regret killing that man?" Arthur says, "Not at the time, but as time passed, I realized my mistake." Now here we see tears flowing from Steve's eyes, and he has become very emotional. After some time, both of them reach Dean's location. Here they plan that first we will get Dean out of the building, and then after Dean comes out, we will kill him. After this, both of them get to work. Arthur cleverly triggers the alarm system in Dean's building. Seeing this, Dean thinks his life is in danger in this building, so he comes out of the building with his security guard, and as soon as he comes out, Dean gets into his car and starts to leave. But he didn't know that Arthur had set a trap for him. Just then, Steve, sitting in a bus, directly hits and blasts the security guard's car in front of Dean. Meanwhile, Arthur also fires at the guards, killing them one by one. Now Dean had no way to escape because Steve had blocked the way from the front and Arthur had blocked the way from behind. After which, Arthur uses a crane to lift Dean's car and slam it to the ground, badly injuring Dean. But he is not dead yet, and as soon as Dean starts to get out of his car, Steve and Arthur shower bullets on Dean, killing him right there. After Dean's death, both of them get into the car and leave. Now on the way, Arthur notices from Steve's words that Steve is behaving very strangely, which he has never done before. During this, when Steve is picking up a water bottle from the back, Arthur's eyes fall on the gun in Steve's jacket that Arthur had used to kill Steve's father, Henry. Seeing the gun, Arthur realizes that now Steve has found out that he killed his father. Now Arthur knew that Steve would definitely avenge his father's death because Steve had told him, "I will keep searching for my father's killer until I kill him." But Arthur doesn't say anything about the gun to Steve and just keeps watching him quietly. Now after going a little further, Steve tells Arthur, "We should get fuel in the car." Then Arthur follows Steve's advice and stops at a petrol pump. Now Steve gets out of the car and starts filling the car with petrol. But during this, Steve secretly spills a lot of petrol under the car. After this, Steve comes to Arthur and tells him, "I am going to buy cigarettes from the shop ahead." Then Arthur tells him, "All right, you can go." And then Steve starts moving away from Arthur's car. During this, Arthur is watching Steve through the side mirror of his car. As soon as Steve reaches some distance from Arthur's car, he hides behind a wall and fires a shot directly at the petrol under Arthur's car. This causes Arthur's car to explode with a huge blast and fly into the air, and the entire petrol pump catches fire. Now Steve thought Arthur was dead, so Steve goes straight to Arthur's house. As soon as he reaches Arthur's house, Steve first plays that music which Arthur had forbidden Steve from playing. After playing the music, Steve reaches Arthur's garage, where he starts Arthur's car. Arthur had also told him never to drive this car, but Steve breaks all of Arthur's rules and starts driving the car. As soon as he moves a little forward, he finds a letter on the car seat that says, "Steve, if you are driving this car, you are going to die." Seeing this, Steve starts laughing loudly, but then a huge blast occurs in the car, killing Steve. Meanwhile, at Arthur's house, as soon as the song on the music system that Steve had played ends due to the bomb in the music system, Arthur's entire house also explodes, and here we learn that Arthur had set up all these things in advance. Meanwhile, we see the scene at the petrol pump, where some people are watching the CCTV footage from before the blast, and then those people find out that the man in the car that exploded had already gotten out before the blast, and this man was none other than Bishop Arthur, meaning Bishop Arthur is still alive. And with this, the movie ends.